Hi, my name is Patrick, and today I'd like to give you a brief overview of how to play this game called Time Mentor Teens. This can be played by up to 6 people, and there's a really good opportunity for students to have practice filling out a daily schedule, seeing how events fit together over the course of a week, and learn how to prioritize. Here we have the game board, 3 different decks, weekly events, school time events, and after school events, the tokens which they'll use to move themselves around the board, the dice, as well as the weekly planner sheet. Each student will have one of these, and the life balance circle sheet. Each player will also have one of these as well to complete. Here's how the game works. At the beginning of the game, you'll take your weekly planner sheets and 6 cards from the weekly events. Once you receive your 6 cards, then you need to schedule them in your week according to where they may fit. So you can see on the weekly planner, as I look at some of the events that I have, they will all tell you when they must be completed, this week, and how long they will take to complete. For instance, watch TV all day long. I need to find a 5-hour time block in my week where I can fit that in. Then I look at my week and I will write the number, in this case 607 for this event, in whatever spots I think it will best fit. Perhaps I want to put that on Sunday morning, perhaps some afternoon during the week, or maybe on Saturday in some free time. After doing this for all 6 events, I'm then ready to start my week. I'll take those and keep them in my hand. And then, once I'm ready to go, I'll roll the dice to start my turn. This isn't a turn-based game. Each player is able to proceed at their own pace. Only at the end of every week will players stop and compare and see how they're doing in relation both to each other, but more importantly to themselves. So once I'm done writing down my events in my weekly planner, then I'll roll the dice to see where I'll go. Here I'll move 9 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You'll skip over this section. This is a sleep time. There's no spots to move there on the board. And depending on which section you land in here, if you land in one of the school time slots, you'll draw 2 cards from the school time events. If you were to land into the after school section, then you would draw 2 events from the after school event deck. If I were to have landed in the school section and drawn 2 cards, I would then have to look at what was written on them and find opportunities to fit those into my schedule for the week. Here you see this one is from the money category. You need to find time 1 hour, sometime this week, to donate $5 to the church. Each day I would receive $15 spending money, and then I would also deduct that money that I had spent from that and mark that in the finance section on the sheets. Here I have to find 3 times this week to spend 1 hour where I want to study some Photoshop basics. Again, I could fit that on any day, but only in days that are either current or upcoming during the week. It's better to schedule things earlier in the week than later, because otherwise you can get too backlogged and not have space for everything. Once I have written down the numbers in the time slots when I wish to complete them, then I'm able to roll the dice and move on to the next event. If I had drawn some from the after school event section by landing in any of these spots here, I again would do the same thing. The one exception is that in this deck there are mandatory events. For instance, participating in the choir concert. This tells me exactly when it has to happen, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., a 2-hour time block. And when? Today. If there was something else scheduled during that time, I would have to move it to another time during the week if there was space available, or leave it as an uncompleted event if I hadn't left space in my schedule to move things around. Any completed events, at the end of the day, you tally up all your completed events and your uncompleted events, the things that you weren't able to fit into your schedule for that day, or things which for whatever reason you chose not to complete. Once passing through here, you keep going, again choosing the cards from the proper event deck as you land in those spots, and filling in them in your weekly planner schedule. At the end of 1 full week on your weekly planner, by the time you reach Sunday at the end of the day and cross the daily marker, then you'll take a moment and fill out the life balance circle sheet. This is where it's important to keep your completed events and your uncompleted events separate in your hand. What you would do is look at your completed tasks, and in each category, for each one that is completed, you'll mark off 1 segment in the circle from that category that you've completed. For instance, money, here I could scratch 1 off from there. Education, I could mark off this. And the more you complete, the more segments you will fill in the circle. And the same for the unperformed tasks, those that you weren't able to fit in your schedule. You would do the same exact thing, filling in the segments according to the ones in the categories that you weren't able to finish. This is a really healthy exercise because it can give students an opportunity to understand more about themselves, how they prioritize, where things fit in their schedule, and how things balance out. They may notice that, wow, I put a lot of effort and completed a lot of tasks in the money section, but not so much in the daily routine, or vice versa. At the end of 2 weeks, after both completing the life balance circle and of course the weekly planner for both of the weeks, then the students will tally up all of their completed tasks. For each completed task, they'll receive 1 point, and whoever receives the most points, of course, is the winner. I hope that helps and gives you a good overview of how the game is played, and I hope you have fun playing it and finding out more about yourself and your priorities. Thanks.